What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Chae Cole, and I'm super excited. It's episode 200.
Let's go. Oh, yeah, got the
Episode 200, man. And as y'all can see already, or as you can hear, I got some special guests in the building with me today. So, of course, we got Bishop Kevin is in the building, bro. Bishop.
Every time.
Bishop is in the building. So you know it's honor and respect only when the bishop is in the building. And because we couldn't just leave it for just Bishop Ken, we got Prophet Javis in the building.
Oh, man, he gonna get in on it.
Yes, sir.
Prophet Javis in the building. You know, they're not strangers to cold therapy. You know, we just did an episode not too long ago talking about podcasts in the park. So episode so nice, we ran it back twice. So I got my guys with me. So Kev, go ahead and talk to the people, man. Y'all not strangers.
Hey, man, I'm excited, yo. We get to talk. We talk all the time, but it's not all the time that people get to listen to what we say. And God is always moving, even in conversations. And so I believe our conversations are edifying to us. And so I'm believing it's going to be edifying to the people watching. So I'm excited.
I've been there, Javis.
Yes, sir, man. Same thing, like you said, it's gonna be edifying to the people, man. It's not a lot of young people you see who are producing like the apostle. Yeah.
Let's not forget the apostle.
But yeah, man, what you doing is revolutionary, and we just happy to tag along. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate y'all for, being willing to put time in your schedules, in your busy schedules. You got ACP Worldwide. We got Nations Calling the Prophet.
God. I'll be watching Netflix, man.
So we before we hop into just, celebrating the 200th episode, my brother Bishop Kevin has an event coming up.
Let's go.
Fire. So, Kev, talk to us about Fire Night, man.
Yeah, man. Fire Night, June 14th, Charlotte, North Carolina. It is prayer and worship. I really don't like to sell it too much because I think sometimes when we have like worship nights and worship events, we call it a worship night or a worship event, and then it really be about like, what can I get from God? It'd be like I want hands laid on me. I want a prophecy to me. I want ministry, healing. And I think there's a place for that.
Sure.
But there also is a place and a time that the true worshipers can worship in spirit and truth. And that's it. Like, so that's really all it is. It's a place where people, no matter how young, how old, come together and just worship God. And so right now we are sold out, but if you send an email with the subject FN Fire Night tickets to admin@achristianpodcast.net, we may be able to get you in. So
that boy's selling out churches, bro. This is wild.
He started on the couch. How you go from the couch to churches?
Come on.
No. So, like, even with Fire Night, right? Like, how did you? Because, bro, the evolution, like as he's talking about though, the couch to the park. We'll say the couch to the studio to the park to having a worship and prayer night. Like, what was that kind of journey like? We've talked about podcasts in the park, but let's talk about Fire Night.
The whole thing is step by step, right? The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, and so it's like, trust not lean not on your own understanding, but trust in the Lord in all your ways, and He shall direct your paths. And so that's literally Him directing the path. Because I ain't planning to do none of this. Like when I started the podcast, I didn't say, I'm gonna go out to the park. I'm gonna go have an event called Podcast in the Park. I was like, I have no dreams or desires to do a worship night. And so really just step by step. So, just being faithful to one thing. Okay, I'm gonna do the podcast consistently. Been doing that for a couple of years. God gave me going outside. I do that. I'm obedient to that. A couple of years later, we at the park. I meet Pastor John. And he had the space, right? Revive Church, and everything just happened organically. So right during that same time that I met Pastor John, excuse me, I just had the idea for Fire Night. And so I was like, all right, that's a lot, but like everything worked perfectly, not perfectly, but in God's perfect timing. And it just kind of came together.
That's what's up, man. Javis, get ready to hop in there and ask a question. But in terms of like, what was your reaction when God is like, do a prayer and worship night?
I was like, I love prayer and worship.
Yeah.
I love music. I love hearing people minister. And so the idea was cool, but me doing it was not. Like I'm not an event planner. Like that's not. I mean, I guess I've been doing it in the last couple of years, but like I've never had dreams of like putting on stuff, putting on events. I will say, I had a vision like maybe 2 years ago. I was driving down the highway, 85, and I literally I was worshiping and listening to music, and I saw myself on a stage with a mic, and I was going crazy, and like the crowd was going crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me though, because I was like, I don't sing, I don't lead worship. Why would I be on the stage with a mic? Not a podcast type deal. It was like
I was preaching.
it was like worship, but it was like a real worship moment.
Yeah,
and I was like, why would I was like, this don't make sense. Why would I be on there? God showed it in advance. I just didn't have all the interpretation of it. So crazy, bro.
That's real. Javis, what you got?
Man, so as soon as Kevin said, he set the tone with, yo, we always looking for what we can get, a prophecy, healing. But you was like, yo, what can we come and bring, right? Our praise and worship. And I heard the word exchange. And so God took me to, 1 Kings 3:4. Now the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar, right? At Gibeon, the Lord appeared. So sacrifice, the Lord appeared. That was the exchange. So my question to you is, what did you have to exchange or sacrifice for? The Bible says it was a high place. So this was a premium, right? And so what are some things that you had to do because it's easy to look at what you're doing and go, oh, all I gotta do is get an admin team. All I gotta do is get a logo. But obviously you had to do something to, I don't want to say provoke the Lord, but something that he will honor. So what did you have to give up, or what did you have to do on your journey here to get to this place?
So I'll tell you one thing. And now when I tell this story, take the principle, don't take the thing itself. That's because good. What God is doing in me is different than what he's doing in you. That's different than what he's doing in all of us. Yeah. So don't sit here and be like, I'm going to do that exact same thing. And
he a bishop. He already in the next. he already in the next segment.
Because I know, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get, somebody tells a story. And if you don't have the right guidance with it, you can be like, all right, well, that's what I need to do. It's like, nah, take the principle of it. So I want to say this was probably also like two years ago. I was at church, and it was like a band there that was like a guest band, and somebody was ministering, and then we just really like, they were rehearsing for a service. I don't even remember why I was in the room, but I was just there. I don't know why, but I had no real reason to be there. And somebody said, whatever posture you feel like God is leading you, get in that posture. And I was like, all right. So I just laid on the ground, like on my face in the church. And I just was there for a minute, and God was just like, continue to do this every day. Like, continue to do this every day. And I would do like great things through you. And so for probably like another year and a half, God had me doing that, where I would literally just like get on my face before the Lord every day. Now, this is why I say it's important to kind of stick. Like he released me from that, right? And not saying that I don't do that sometimes, because sometimes, a lot of times I do. But he released me from the mandate of doing it. Like it was an instruction at that time. Like, do this every day, and I will continue to show up for you. And so that was the sacrifice. It was a sacrifice of acknowledging, like, all right, every day I need you. Like, I have nothing without you. And so from that, like, he really began to do like crazy things. And so that's where I really started like get on fire and desire the presence of God more, and just pray more. So the sacrifice of prayer, of worship, of all of that stuff, and then really just the sacrifice of obedience. That all of that can be tied to that. So, because prayer is meant always to pray, right? Worship, right? And so it's all tied to, can you obey me? Yeah,
that's real.
I get one follow up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go to work, man.
Go to work.
1 Corinthians 3:13. Each one's work will become clear, for the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test each one's work. So for you, looking back, what has the Lord burnt up? And was there ever a season where you was like, it was hard to let go of things? Because that's what fire do. It's going to burn stuff up. It's going to bring correction, and it's going to begin to form you. So talk about that journey of the fire journey. Like they going to come and see fire night, but you've been on the fire journey, right? And so, yeah, talk about that.
No, that's real, bro. It's different in different seasons. So sometimes it's just more time with him. That's so sometimes what's burnt is the time spent with other things, other people, sometimes it is just the atmosphere, like not watching certain stuff, not listening to certain stuff. And some of it is kind of all together, but some of it is just at different times. So there's been so many things, but I think overall the sacrifice is like the fire is my own will, right? Jesus, even in the garden, not your will, right? Not my will, but your will be done. And so it is consistently that. It is, all right, not my will, God, but your will. And so whatever is not his will has to be refined through the fire.
That's real.
I'm asking that because I love that you posted the journey with your PhD. Yo, fam, I didn't even know you was doing all that behind the scenes. And so I know that in today's content culture, it's easy just to see it and want to get straight to it. Then you get to it and it's like, God, why is it not working? Because we don't got the BTS.
Yeah, so that's what follow somebody else.
Yeah. So
okay, so one more thing with that is part of like what had to be released or let go of or and everything is like just this idea of what it should look like. You know what I'm saying? Like what I want to do is not always what he wants me to do. And so it's like even just the very okay, I should do this, I should do this, I should do that. Sometimes you gotta just let that go. Yeah.
Lean into that just a little bit more, because I think there's a lot of people that can relate to like having these desires. I think many times, I mean, even cold therapy, 200 episodes in, right? Like I had this desire to like continue or whatever the case may be, but you know, it's certain things that you have to navigate and how you approach those things. So can you just lean into like, okay, this is what I thought it was going to be, or this is what I saw, but that's not actually what God saw. And we talked about it a little bit at the park. So shameless plug, Christian Podcast, the last episode, at the time that you're watching this one, maximizing the seasons. So like, what does that look like practically?
Yeah. So that looks like, it looks like evaluation, like consistent evaluation of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, some of those instructions were seasonal. And so part of it is discerning, again, we talked about maximizing the season. Part of it is discerning what is God doing with me? What am I supposed to do? What is supposed to be happening through me in this season, in this time? Because a lot of times people get an instruction, a true, real instruction from the Lord, and then they're doing it and it's working. And then one day it's not working no more. And you're like, but this is what you said. And he like, yeah, that's what I said last year, right? That's what I said 5 years ago. It's something new, right? I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? And so for me, it's consistent, like checking in, right? If I were to say it simply, it's like, yo, God, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Like, what do you have for me in this time? What is your goal? And then even seeing yourself as an instrument, right? Like when Saul was about to be, converted, he's blind. He's on the road to Damascus, and the Lord reaches out to Ananias and is like, go to pray with him. And Ananias is scared because he like, yo, that's Saul. I mean, yeah, that's Saul. Like that's
you know what I'm talking about, right?
That's so right. Like he's a wild dude.
Yeah.
And God says, yeah, I know, that's my chosen vessel. to do this.
Yeah.
And so it makes you say, what am I the chosen vessel to do? Like, what did you create this vessel for?
It's good, bro.
And then how do I walk that out?
It's real. Go ahead, Javis. I know
Man.
you over there cooking. I see you scrolling.
I'm here. I'm just listening to you talk about following God, and that's one of the things I had to embrace myself, because like you read in Exodus, well, it's fire by night, plug, but fire by night, and it was a pillar of cloud by day, and to my understanding, they never knew when it was going. It was probably just, moving. And so I was like, man, like, I wonder if I would have been okay with at any moment packing up and moving. And that's what it feels like sometimes. Not naturally all the time, but just like, okay, God, we're going this direction. You just told me to start. Now you want to go here. And so, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. So
They getting to it.
nah, because I'm thinking of so many different examples of, just having to, for lack of better words, mourn a previous season or mourn a desire, right?
That's crazy.
He tells Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead.
Yeah.
Right? And then he tells Samuel, Samuel, how long will you mourn Saul? Yeah. Right? Seeing that I've rejected him.
Man, put a season on mourning?
So it's that's crazy. It's like, it's not always two things that we like dislike, because we'll be ready to leave a season that is like, I don't see no fruit. Yeah. You want me to go? Cool, I'm out. But it's different when you have to go ahead, Ken.
Bro.
So talk about that then. Even like you 200 episodes deep,
Fruitful.
it's a process to even seeing fruit.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about real fruit for a second. Like you plant a seed, depending on the tree, I'd just looked up. It could take up to 16 years for an orange tree to develop fruit.
God, I need it now. My
bro,
fault.
I said
Go ahead.
16 years. So talk about even that. I ain't want to talk about that a little bit.
Because I think that's real though, because I can judge my fruit based on your podcast and not realize the fruit that cold therapy is bearing.
That's
right.
real.
So I can look at, oh dang, Kev, 50K, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. 50K on YouTube and, blowing up on social media and all this stuff. And I'm over here, I'm grateful for my 500, 200, whatever it is. Yeah. Right. But there may be an impact and effect that I'm judging fruit, and if I get down because my fruit doesn't look like your fruit, then I'm not doing the work that God called me to do.
That's real.
Right. So I don't even know if I answered your question, bro.
No, that is real. Cause bro, like, man, and here's the other thing. You could be looking at me. I could be looking at somebody else who got 100, 200, and we all sitting there looking like at somebody else's thing and not realizing, what you have is, if you're obedient, that's God's will for you. Yeah. And it's like, if my impact, we say it all the time, but we don't really believe it. We be like, if one person gets to this, if one person got the message, or one person got saved, then it's all worth it. We say it, but if we really lived it out, we wouldn't always feel like the discontent that sometimes can creep in.
Yeah, that's real.
So that's real.
I think that's important for, just a plug to support, your creatives or pastors, leaders, whoever, because it can be easy to get in your head over, oh dang, I'm not here. And sometimes you don't even know until somebody comments and says, yo, this episode blessed me. Or, what you said during this part, like it really blessed me, or whatever the case may be. So go ahead, Javis.
No, we was talking about fruit. You said judging your fruit off of his, right? So bananas boost potassium. Apples excel fiber. So if you don't know what you're supposed to do, so you looking at a banana going, Lord, why am I not? Yo, you an apple, right? What is it? Excel fiber, right? Yeah. And so when you just said about the 16 years ago, it just made me go look at the fact that, God really does, what is that, Romans 1:20? Everything that's seen. You're not gonna make me butcher. You're not gonna
about something unseen.
Yeah, you're not gonna make me butcher it.
Nah,
God's invisible qualities are seen. And
that's Romans 1.
Yeah. So just basically just saying like, God really is speaking to us through any and everything, especially His word. And so that was just something I thought about.
Yeah, that's definitely Romans 1.
Judging somebody's fruit, you got a whole nother purpose.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. I mean, one body, many members, right?
Come on,
So
bro.
you a hand.
Uh-huh.
I already did an episode. That was a couple weeks ago. Go back and watch that one.
Trying to do foot stuff.
Right. But seriously though,
Yeah.
if you don't understand where you're graced at or what you're called to, that's where that comparison piece kind of creeps in to where it's like, man, I wanted, but God didn't call.
He
He can grace you for a moment to do those things or whatever case may be. How he sees fit. He distributes gifts how he sees fit.
The talents.
And so we have to lean into that as well. Go ahead, Kev. That boy
Right.
cooking.
And understanding like those in the spotlight are not better than you.
Yes.
If you're not called to that.
Bam.
And being okay with not being called to the spotlight, or when I say spotlight, whatever, social media, getting a lot of followers or views and all of that stuff, or preaching or teaching on the stage, like whatever it is, that going back to the body, that 1 Corinthians 12 talks about how those that are unseen are actually more valuable and should be honored more than the parts that we okay, the foot, eye, like we always talk about that stuff, but it's the whatever, the kidney or the liver. Like nobody's like, I'm a liver, right? Take your liver out and see what happens, right? And so the things that are unseen are usually unpraised are actually worthy of more honor.
Yeah. I'm gonna go here just for a second, just because we're there. So the Perrys just came through Charlotte, and we had the opportunity to serve, and help pack up all the merch, all the books, and all the different things.
Capital ALL.
But that's the part, like when everybody was gone, everybody enjoyed the event, enjoyed the tour. Shout out to the Perrys.
Shout out.
Enjoyed everything, but they went home.
Yeah.
I didn't get home. I don't know about y'all. Y'all farther than me. I didn't get home till like 1.
Yeah.
So the event ended what, 10?
10 something, 10,
A
15.
little after 10.
You ain't count the lingering. So about
And
it.
the lingering, right? So I mean, that part is the part that we don't like. I gained so much respect just seeing
Facts.
like what goes into it.
Yeah.
You know, not taking away what the show or the event was, but like the behind the scenes of like, yo, all these moving parts and all these people that you don't see helping, assisting, like getting stuff in place. Like that was mind blowing to me.
That's real. And knowing like them people might not ever get a pat on the back or whatever it is.
Yeah, you gotta be secure.
But at the end of the day, every person helps the show run. And it's the same thing with the body. Like, bro, play your part.
Listen, you go on Zillow, the only thing you see is the nice stuff.
Yeah.
You never go on Zillow and be like, hey, here's the plumbing.
Nah,
You know what I'm saying? But if it go wrong, whole neighborhood gone. And you said something about the liver, bro. You know how to look it up. The liver
Crazy.
filters all the blood in the body and breaks down poisonous substances. It's some people who you're supposed to be in your ministry, being a wall, being a intercessor, and your ministry is being attacked because you want to be seen. Yo, like that's how critical you are. And so
Stay there.
yeah. And so, oh man, he's man go.
Nah,
And so, man, I had to learn. I was like, okay, God. And first of all, sometimes your seasons can be situational, right? And I don't think it's nothing. We're gonna get into it later. It's nothing wrong with desiring to be in certain positions because you may be tapping into what God has for you next. But Zechariah 4:10, can you handle that small season? My fault. Can you handle that critical foundational season? And so that's all it is. And he's like, yeah, my fault.
I was over here struggling to find where Habakkuk is. I know what I need, but I don't know where to find it. Okay, 806. All right. Y'all can keep going. I ain't got nothing right now.
But yeah, dog. Ooh, y'all boys.
So, Kev, I do have a question for you. I know you're trying to find out. I want this to. So you already said Fire Night V2 is sold out. You know, people can still trickle in, but the people gonna ask, is there gonna be a third one just in case? You know, I can't get into the second one.
Man, we gonna see how this one goes first time. I would say that's pending.
Yeah.
And again, I don't ever want to move like out of I don't want to move in disobedience,
Yeah.
and I also don't want to move in obedience to my own flesh.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because to be real, the first one, it was hard.
Yeah.
Right? It took a lot to put on.
Yeah.
A lot more than I even expected, and so. I ain't gonna lie. At first, I was like, "Ain't no part 2."
Yeah.
Right. But and then even like seeking counsel on that.
Yeah.
Cause leave it up to me, it might have not been no part 2.
Yeah.
And then
It's
just
real.
seeking, counsel and people saying like, give it another go.
Yeah.
See how it goes, and then also just what is God saying. So if there is one. If there is one, it may or may not be in December.
Yeah.
But
They get hotels and flights right now.
yeah, bro.
That's what's up.
So you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Fire night, potentially December. So stay tuned for that. Javis, man, talk to us. You have a very profound and I think even innovative approach to ministry that isn't talked about as much. Honestly, like the way, just having conversations with you and then, supporting what you do, I haven't found or seen, not saying that it doesn't exist, but the way that you approach emotional intelligence, wiring,
We go crazy.
and how we steward that within the church, within ministry, how we evaluate discipleship. I haven't seen anyone with a heart for it as much as yours. And again, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist and it's not out there. But I was taken aback just seeing how you navigate and how easily you are able to identify, different things. So talk to us a little bit about either the emotional maturity piece or even just how wiring affects us in ministry and operating in gifts. Like, what have you seen? What have you studied? Talk to the people, man.
Well, apostle. Now, as you so eloquently said on the last podcast, you brought up how Psalm 119:71, the affliction. It's good that I was afflicted. I don't know your statutes. Yo, fam, I was afflicted. Like when it comes to the emotional intelligence, I was afflicted. You guys know my story about losing my parents at a young age. So emotional intelligence is a luxury I did not have. So that's my affliction that caused my advancement in terms of being ultra aware, right? Which is why I'm passionate about, because I'm seeing very clearly yo, we got gifts, we got buildings, but people don't know how to connect. People don't know how to navigate that middle piece, right? And so I think about the Bible, like God created Adam. The Bible says he breathed in him. That was a spirit. Then he was like, hold on, it's not good for man to be alone, right? So he took a rib out. Theoretically speaking, it was the one right in front of the heart. He said, yo, now you connect with Eve, the soul, right? And then he was like, I gave you a body, you connect with the world, right? And so, all right, I got to pull it up, just prepare, right? But in 1 Thessalonians 5:23, now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so just to continue to preface this before I move on, we know that the enemy still kills and destroys. A lot of people are familiar with him killing and destroying, but they don't know how bad he be stealing, right? And he's literally taken out of the church psychology. Now, obviously, we know psychology is associated with secular people, but Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created, right? And so the Bible is not explicit about psychology, right? But we can go in the Bible. King Solomon literally wrote so many. My man just did 31 days. Plug. My man just did 31 days, and I'm pretty sure you came across some psychological principles written by King Solomon. Yeah. And so that's my heart for the church, is that we understand that people not leaving your church because of lack of gifts. People not really leaving over like fivefold. No, they leaving because there's something happening in the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotions, right? It's a decision they're making, right? And that's what I want us to understand. And so, that was kind of like my intro, but any more questions? Yeah.
So, because we hear but sometimes we skip steps.
Yeah.
What's emotional intelligence?
My fault, boss. So emotional intelligence is simply being able to identify, understand, and manage emotions, either my emotions or your emotions, right? 5 quick pillars. You got self-awareness. That means I'm aware of how I'm wired, my triggers, my mood swings, or what I'm able to do. And you got self-regulation. So you ever hear somebody go, man, I don't know, man, it's just how I am. Mm-hmm. So they're self-aware to a degree, but they don't have self-regulation where they can take a time and go, all right, let me get myself together. Mm. Self-regulation can be Philippians 4, be anxious for nothing, but anything pray. Yo, that's regulation. That's me going, okay, I'm triggered by that. So let me just go ahead and pray about this. Or I'm worried about this. Let me pray. Then we got empathy. This is when you're able to relate to other people, right? And then we have social skills. I know how to build effective relationships. And then we got motivation, which is I know what makes me tick and I'm moved beyond status, money, and fame. So that's the 5 pillars, yeah, in a nutshell. Yes, sir.
You went crazy.
So talk to me about, because I know you do a lot of assessments of personalities as well, but you also can bring that back to someone in the Bible, and show how the connections there are made to, hey.
He about to do it right now on himself.
No, but I want people to see this too, so I ain't tripping. And because I know, like, this, like, I had a conversation with him, like, this is Paul right here. You see, like, I'm like, bro, how you know that?
Oh, we got a Rolodex in his head.
So, like, talk to me about, just, like, give an example of a wiring or a personality that you see within the Bible. And you can even talk about yourself, or, like, you can evaluate us on the spot. Right? Like, what do you see?
Well, first, I got to preface it with this. Like, whenever I talk to people, 50%, when I'm online just hearing people talk about wiring and emotional intelligence, it's always assumed that it's coming from a place of making an excuse. And that's not my heart. Like, my heart is just strictly awareness, right? So you may be hearing this and going, oh, well, that doesn't give a right for that person. It doesn't, right? What I want you to do is I want you to have the education and the awareness to just move accordingly, right? Mm-hmm. So you may have to adjust that relationship. You may have to adjust your expectation. You may have a leader. You may have a friend. You may have an associate at work, right? Or you may have another relationship where you need to, like, have the direct conversation. So these are the tools I like giving people. Again, I'm not giving license to no one in terms of how they act or treat you or be. It's just clearly to have clarity on how people are expressing themselves, whether it's demonic or whether it's hurt or whether it's just ignorance. All right. So basically, go to the Bible. No, got to be rooted. All right. So I want it's this. We in 1 Corinthians 12, pretty long scripture, but we're gonna pick up in 15. And basically, Paul is saying, yo, the body is diverse. That's his heart. Like, yo, I want you guys to know that God created fearfully and wonderfully made us, right? And so we're going to pick up at 15. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing, right? If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? Verse 17, that's how a lot of people approach life. That's how a lot of leaders approach their businesses and ministries, because they believe that the whole body is an eye. So I'm an eye. That means I'm going to approach everybody. I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to treat everybody like an eye. And some of the tension is not rebellion. Some of the tension is not disrespect. Some of the tension you're having is just there's not an awareness of how God made all of us, right? Right here in 1 Corinthians. And so if I can break down what we got, the eye, the hand, the ear, and the eye, let's take Abraham. What did God do to Abraham? What was the first conversation?
Father of many nations.
No, but the very first conversation he had with Abraham. To have him.
I don't even know.
So to leave.
Oh, go to a land.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the reason he told Abraham.
Back to that, by the way.
Where? Okay. So the reason he told Abraham to leave, because Abraham is wired like an ear, right? What is the ear? Ears are people who are great listeners. They make great counselors, therapists. They are slow paced. They are conflict avoidant. Remember, he lied twice to cover his tail because he was like, yo, if they know that you're my wife, they'll kill me, right? So ears are they're conflict avoidant. They're great supporters. They're great greeters, hospitality team. Those are like your ears, all right? Now let's talk about Paul. Paul is a foot. So what did God do for, Saul? What did God do for Saul? What was that encounter like?
Knocked him off.
Knocked them off. So whenever you see a Saul or a foot, these are people who are direct. They're results oriented. They're brutal, or they're dominant. They're domineering. They're demanding. And when God has to encounter them, it has to be like a hard stop, right? So for people like Abraham, it's like, yo, you love comfortability. You love peace. Leave your father's home, right? Go to a land I will show you, because people like who are wired like that, they love stability, right? But for Saul, he needed to knock him off his high horse, right? You get it, right? He needed to knock him off his high horse, right? Because it's pride, right? Let's do another one. Let's do the eye. So let's do. Moses was an eye in terms of he was detailed. He wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. He was very analytical. He stayed up in a high place in terms of meeting God on the mountain, in terms of perspective and area views and stuff like that. But he struggled with perfectionism. That's why he kept going back and forth with God, like, who should I say sent me? But I stutter because eyes always, everything got to be so right? Everything got to be just right. And so how you look in ministry is, yeah, worship teammate, or yeah, I ain't like that sermon because he should have, right? What you are expressing is that you have a critical eye, and it has to be submitted. And that's another thing I want to talk about. When leaders are discarding personality in the church, they're trying to throw away a part of us that's critical. But I know what they're saying. They're generally saying, yo, we need to submit everything to God. That's what they intend to say. But what they're saying is, yo, we need to stop with this personality stuff. And it's like, you're saying stop with a part of us that's critical. Elijah didn't need deliverance. He needed food and water because he was depressed. You see what I'm saying? So like it's some leaders who are not tapped into leading their sheep in a way that's critical and that's effective, because you can't cast out wounds. You can't cast out trauma. You gotta disciple that out. And that's why my heart is emotional intelligence. I know I said a lot, but yeah.
You rolling, bro.
Going crazy.
You got something for it, Kev? My God. All right, so evaluate Kev. Like, what is Kev?
So
if you don't mind, Kev.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to do the assessment with Kev, but just by observation, right? Because that's key number one. You never want to assume, right? You just kind of want to observe. And you never want to tie a temperament to someone, especially if you don't have objective data. But by observation, he is someone, I would give him the foot and the ear, right? And the reason why it's blended like that, because the foot is results oriented and Kev is this way. But Kev is not super duper quick, which is why I would give him the ear, because he's steady and he loves people. Man, he evangelist, right? You know what I'm saying? He loved people. And so we talk about, it's all this technical talk. When we talk about adapting and natural styles and we talk about blends, I give Kev the eagle, the foot, and I give him the steady, right? In terms of, so he's results oriented and he's very supportive, and it's blended, right? So he can get the job done, but also he's steady and he loves helping out people. So.
Hey.
What you?
I hear you. Hey, that's dope, man. Yeah. So how do you take the information once you've evaluated your temperament? Most people are aware of their temperament. Well, most self-aware people are aware of their temperament, things they're good at, not good at. Once I get more of that information, what do I do with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one, I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I'm stuff coming up as we're talking. So most people associate how a person communicates and approaches life by personality. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Under personality, you have character. Under character, you have temperament. So temperament is what's inherited, right? Based on who your mom is, your dad is, who their mom is, who their dad is, right? And temperament is easily seen in babies because they aren't influenced. So you look at the baby, it's like, okay, like, yo, they talk a lot, right? Or, yo, they don't want to be around nobody, right? That's their temperament, right? And then you get character. Character is when you are influenced by, how did your parents parent you? or what school, where did you live, or who did you hang around, what are you watching? That's why we have something called character development and discipleship, because literally that's where things begin to be agile. Personality is what's expressed. So I can have a temperament and a character, but based on where I'm at, who I'm hanging around, I may express something differently, right? You see what I'm saying? And so to your point, first thing I love to do is do like a quick assessment in terms of just talking to the person about what area of your life is like blown up right now. Is it your finances, family, friends, ministry, relationships? And then you can begin to pinpoint and identify, okay, oh, this is why this has been happening, right? The information is so vast, you got to like almost not make it a lifestyle, but you got to make it something that you're constantly thinking about and doing, because, you know, like one is you, and then there's so much to life, so many areas of life that you want to, that we live in. That makes sense. But yeah, so to your point, you just want to kind of have a goal in mind, because chasing the assessment about 35 pages, you don't want to go in there and just open up and begin to read. You want to say, okay, what is something that's blown up on fire in my life right now? Plug. What is something that's on fire in my life right now, and how can I address that? And then, you know, work your way. Yeah.
That's dope, bro.
That's real. Go ahead, kid. Yeah, you over there flipping.
I couldn't find it, but it made me think about like when you said specifically, basically how you express your personality and character and all of that stuff can be different in different places. I think it was Paul that called out Peter. When Peter would be with certain people, he would be acting like he ain't know, like he would act like he ain't know them, or he would act like basically he was kind of being a coward in the sense of like wherever he was, he switched up, and not in a good way, like, you know, I became all things to all men, not that way. He was like, I don't want to associate like that. Paul was like, nah, bro. So
where else did Peter do that?
when he denied Jesus,
Right. So by observation, I know something about Peter.
right?
Peter was somebody who cut off somebody's ear. Peter was somebody who jumped off the boat when nobody else did. So Peter is someone who's impulsive, right? That temperament would be the hand. The hand is the outgoing personality. It's the personality that loves talking, loves energy. And it's the one, because they all got their downfalls, right? It's the one that needs social approval. So Peter's temperament is one that needs that, right? And so whenever he's in a position where that's like at risk, he'll cower out. Right? Aren't you the one that's with the Galilean? No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Or right, why you switching up? Right? Because that's the other side of his temperament, aka low emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Hey. Anointed, gifted, but emotionally unintelligent.
That's real. Peter Scazzaro's book, right? It's impossible to remain spiritually mature while remaining emotionally immature.
Emotionally healthy leader.
Yeah, but he got a whole series of emotional, spiritual leader, discipleship, spirituality, all of that.
Yeah.
So Peter Scazzaro, highly recommend those books as well. Bro, I don't even
All right, so one thing you said, I'm paraphrasing very harshly, but is that people don't want to do the work of working through people's personalities, temperament, character, experiences, and so some people just kind of get thrown away, or they leave a place or whatever. How do we encourage leaders to do that hard work of saying, okay, right now you're showing up as rebellious, right? But I know that you're not just a rebellious person at heart. The reason you're a rebel is because you see things that other people aren't seeing and that go unaddressed. How do we get leaders to do the work of doing that and like working through people's stuff?
Wow. So you just the Bishop blueprint. You just literally did it. You literally like that. Yo, that's the language. Like, yo, I know you don't intend to be rebellious, but I know that you see stuff that should be addressed, and you're passionate. So that's exactly what we gotta do. So first is getting the information right, is understanding that, okay, people are complex, right? So when they created this framework about a century ago, again, it's not to put people in the box, but it is to be objective about how a person is expressing themselves. And you can see very clearly that, okay, hey, this is their temperament, right? So what you want to do is, one, understand that, and this is why I feel it's my assignment to redeem psychology, because the psychology in the world is rooted in atheism and humanism, and basically man can help itself.
Right.
But Philippians 1:6, he who began a great work in you will be faithful to finish it until the day of Jesus Christ. And so we got to understand that as a leader, it's like, okay, this person is coming into my ministry, right? And we can do a quick assessment just to understand how this person is wired, what gifts you have, where you're from. Just like we were asking where you're from, what you like, what you want to do. Understand their wiring, because it's going to give you access to all types of scenarios and things that may come up. Again, I don't want people playing it like boxing people in, but just to be objective about the fact that, okay, hey, these are some of the challenges that we can kind of scope out, and we can begin to help you in this area. And so, like I said, the biggest thing is that leaders have to be okay with it, because like whenever I hear leaders talk about personality, it's always in a bad way.
Yeah.
And I get it, because like they're saying like, you guys shouldn't be led by your feelings. Okay, say that, but don't say, oh, the whole concept of the mind with the emotions out, because you're asking people to drive 100 miles per hour on a what's it called, with the light on, the engine light on, and then one day they crash out, or one day they leave your church, and one day they lash out. And it's like, yo, what's happening? Yo, you never tended to the heart, right? The Bible says to guard your heart for the issues of life. So you know what I'm saying. So to answer your question, leaders just got to be aware, and I'm about to get into a whole nother thing. It takes a shepherd. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some people in position who aren't shepherds, right? It's some people in position who you can run an organization, but can you be a shepherd?
Yeah.
And so, but that's a whole nother,
or place people, place shepherds in there if you can.
Yeah.
Cause not everybody is a shepherd.
Yeah, like it's some temperaments, bro, who don't really want to deal with people, but they're great at running an organization, and so they automatically think that I should be in this position. It's like, no, maybe there's another, right? But there's grace for everybody, and that's another thing I'm trying to get people to understand as well. Is like, it's not about limiting yourself; it's about being objective about where your grace is and where you aren't that good at, and where you need to partner and delegate. Yeah.
No, that's real. Ephesians 4:11.
Yeah.
Masterclass on it. I've given some.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Apostles, prophets, teachers, evangelists, pastors, shepherds.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like leaning into, of course, that's just some. And then we talked about, and as you broke down much better than I can, the foot, the hand, the ear, the eye, right? Seeing the different graces even in that. So it's just like leaning into those things. And I mean, all this is connected because like we just talked about comparing podcasts. We talked about, now we're talking about gifts and all these different things and graces. So it's a lot. You got something?
I think it just reminded me, like, we got to do the work.
Yeah.
Like, it takes work.
Yeah, bro.
And I think a lot of people, when faced with people that are not, okay, they're not already together, they don't already have everything, it's kind of just like, all right, get out of here. Yeah. And y'all know I've been quoting this for the past couple months now, but like, 1 Samuel 22, when David is on the run from Saul, he's in the cave of Adullam, and it says that 400 men that were discontented, in debt, they all came to him, and he became their leader, and he created an army out of them. So I'm like, it's work to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because most people, you see people that are not, you're like, okay, they're not the ones.
Yeah.
Or I'm just surrounded by idiots or whatever, but it's like, are you surrounded by idiots, or do you just not know or want to develop people?
Listen, bro, you gotta know when to receive a ready gift and when to raise up, right? You gotta know when you're looking at a Peter, and you gotta also see Pentecost, right? And so when God knocked Saul off his horse, he's seen all those books in the New Testament, right? And today we need leaders who are, you don't got to be a prophet, but you got to be able to see into people and see much more than they're coming to you as, instead of throwing them away. And so
That's real good.
I had another point, but yeah, no, that's good. Oh, the trick is we're saved after what? How long is the salvation prayer? Like 30 seconds?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. 30-second salvation prayer, 30-year sanctification process. And that's where it gets real. And that's where a lot of people aren't ready to really grab people and walk with them. And so, yeah, like you said, bro, and not just leaders, the person got to do the work. And our framework is in Galatians 5:22-23. That's literally the emotional intelligence hallmark, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
That's dope, man.
That's real. So what was David?
David, man. So I would give him, one, he was a warrior and he was a worship leader. So he's definitely on the extrovert side, right? So this is the foot in the hand. This is the extrovert side of the, I don't want to call it spectrum, but the side, right? I'm thinking, you said on the last podcast, my man was like, yo, give us something to eat. Bro, we've been taking care of y'all. Yo, get the sword,
No,
right?
yeah.
So he got that same type of swag like Peter, who would just take right? So they both kind of impulsive, they both kind of passionate, they both kind of fast paced and whatnot, quickly react. So I would give David, he wrote a lot of songs, man. He poured his heart out in them songs, man. So, but he was also a warrior. So I don't know which one is higher on the graph, but he's like a foot hand. Right, he's definitely on the extrovert side, right? That man's outside, Davis, ain't that, like, you know what I'm saying? And then what gives it away too, I want to give him the foot, bro. How old is he when he fought Goliath?
He was a boy.
Yeah.
Bro, like that's
Definitely under 18.
yeah, that's a dominant personality. Like he put, hey, yo, how much?
Who is that over there
Yeah,
talking, bro?
yeah.
We're like,
Y'all
if
hear
I
that?
kill him?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Y'all hear
saying.
man's over there?
Yeah,
Hey, how long he been doing this?
exactly, bro. That's a dominant personality. So
Yeah.
you think
Y'all
Gideon
just gonna
would?
let him talk like that?
Right.
You think Gideon would have did that?
Nah, Gideon would have been gone, bro.
Exactly. So what? So that's
He
the
wouldn't
difference.
even went out there to give them the bread.
Exactly, bro. So like, bro, that's exactly how we see temperaments in the Bible, because God had to go to him and call him something he wasn't yet. Mighty man of valor, right? So Gideon is more on the introverted side because we find him in the wine press. We find him secluded. And so yeah.
All right, last one.
Yes,
What
sir.
would you say I am? You see my assessment.
Yeah, I see your assessment. And so you definitely, from what I remember, you got the foot, and because every time, man, this man adjusting his mic. That big, you gotta do something. I don't know. You got the terminology for adjusting mic, but if you've seen Chae preach, with probably all y'all seen Chae preach. Even on this podcast, right? He goes straight into passion. He may start out with the intro and stuff like that, but he bursts into passion every time. So that's the foot. But also, Chae is steady because it takes a certain type of temperament to be persistent and consistent, right? He knows how to start a task and see it all the way through. It's 200 episodes. You're not going to be a hand and do that, because hands have the temperament of, they love starting stuff, excitement. Yo, let's go. Everybody pull up. Day 4. Hey, bro, I don't think we should do that anymore. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he's also, I think your third one was the C, I believe, which is analytical, but you definitely got that foot and that steadiness. Yes, sir.
That's what's up. So y'all gotta tap in with Davis. I'm gonna give him a chance to, to plug everything that he has going on. But as you can see, like, there's so many depths and layers to it. We could barely scratch the surface on everything. So we've kind of come to the time where I have an announcement to make for Cole Therapy. It's 200. We got to
Bring out the trumpets.
Where the confetti?
Nah, but man, it's been a journey. 200 episodes in, man, and episode is called The Last Dance because this will be, at least for the time being, I don't know how long this could be. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. It could be 3 months. It could be forever. But this will be the last episode of Cole Therapy as the podcast pertains to it. I will still be making content of some sort, still doing YouTube, still doing Bible plans. Shameless plug. I have 2 getting ready to drop soon. One may be out by the time it's supposed to drop today that we're recording this.
Let's go.
But it hasn't yet. So it may be out by the time you watch or listen. It happened in prayer. That's the first one that's coming out. And then I have another one around the Father's Day timeline. Just speaking to people who have not great relationships with their father or may not have had the best experience. It's based on a sermon I preached for Father's Day. No one like the Father.
That's good.
So those two are coming out.
That's dope, bro.
But in terms of the podcast, this is it.
Hit that button.
Oh yeah.
This is it, man. Yeah, Kev, Javis, what kind of questions? Y'all feel free to just ask anything or share anything.
I think, bro, what I was thinking about when you first told me was, what is it like leaving something that's fruitful? Like, there's nothing wrong with the platform yet. You feel the need to transition. And so can you help somebody out there? Because God may be moving their heart for them to make a transition.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it ain't nothing going on. Like, we just getting started. And so what is it that you're tapped into, or in terms of what are you seeing for what's next? Or is it just like, hey, I'm just obeying God?
Yeah, so I really felt it strongly a couple of episodes ago. Probably at like 190, to be honest, where it was like, I never want to be a quote unquote content creator who is just forcing content or just being consistent for the name of, oh man, Chae's consistent. He dropping every week.
Yeah.
Right. And let me speak to the consistency piece really quickly, because a lot of people will highlight the consistency part. But again, you don't know the behind the scenes of that. Bro. So we just had BU night a couple of weeks ago. Right. Yeah. And y'all know I had a gig that next morning, in my hometown. And so we didn't get out of BU until like 12, whatever. So this is not long. This is 197, episode 197. Yeah. And so I had rented a camera for the gig that I had the next day. UPS tripping. I'm getting ready to record the episode before we go to BU night. UPS tripping. Right. So I was on the phone with them all the way up until I drove to BU night. I'm on the phone with UPS because I'm like, yo, my package, like somebody got to pay for this. Yeah. Like if I don't get it, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure my bread goes there or whatever. So bro, I recorded episode 197 after BU night. And I had to be up at 6 to get to where I'm going the next morning. So I recorded that episode 197 at 1 o'clock in the morning. Before. So like that's behind there's been so many other times where I've had to preach that week. So I'm like, all right, I got to get the episode out before I go, do these places or whatever the case may be. So I just want to speak to that. And then your question was, how do you walk away from something that's fruitful? It is Abraham, right? Go to a land that I will show you.
Come on.
Right. I felt strongly like the Lord's like, you have to release something, right? You have to release this because I don't know what it is. I don't know what's next, right? I'm still asking. And I just shared on Instagram, Tim Ross was talking about, he used just that example. And he was like, I don't think this is for every situation, in every case. But he said, God won't show you what's next until you leave what's now. And so it's like, for me, it's given this time to God to say, okay, God, I've been consistent with this. Thank you for blessing the platform. Like when I first had the notion, I was like, Lord, can I just get to 200? Like, just let me get to 200 and I got you. And so I knew that was it. And, as with conversations with y'all, man, it's been hard to let go. Cause I'm like, man, like I see this, like people sending me like, yo, this episode blessed me and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, God, like, bro, like we doing stuff.
Come on, it's rolling.
And like YouTube is still growing. And, I see like new followers almost every day or every week. And so it's just like what now? So it's tough, but I understand that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm hearing is obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like, sacrifice looks different, but, back then is burnt offerings and stuff like that. Now it could be, I'm doing content on social media that's helping people, right? That this is my sacrifice to you, God. Like, I'm sleepy, I'm tired, I've been doing this for 200 weeks. Like, bro, that's what, 4 years? Yeah, like, dog, I've been doing this for this long. This is my sacrifice. and then in your place where you're at is God is like, yeah, I appreciate you, I honor your sacrifice, and I've been working with you alongside you, walking with you in the spirit to get this done, and then now it's a time for rest, time for seeking future, there's a time for everything, season for every activity. And so I just honor you for even being able to say like, all right, in the midst of the increase, let's stop.
Yeah.
That's tough, bro.
But I mean, even I was thinking about this on the drive over here, right? Was like people can look at, so Javis did a plug. I haven't said it on the Code Therapy podcast, but I did graduate with my PhD this year. So doing like going through that, so the whole time I'm doing 200 episodes, pretty much I've been in school working on a PhD. I've been preaching. I've been supporting Kev. I've been supporting other ministries, all these other things, right? And you would look at it as, okay, you're not in school anymore. You're not working on this. Like, this is the perfect time for you to like go crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole thing that you've already let go of.
Yeah.
So why is now the time? And like I said, I mean, we'll see. Like the story is still being written. And I think as I've modeled consistency, that's what I want to model too, is being able to, because I mean, me and Kev have had conversations like a year ago. I was like, I don't know how long this is going to be around.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said, bro, I'm considering like leaning in and supporting you, like what you need. Like, and that's still going to be the case. And let me also say this, because I don't want to give the illusion, because a lot of times we think somebody done fell into sin because they let something, right? Like this ain't that, this ain't that. Or somebody sat me down or whatever the case may be. No, that is not like, you can ask them like, I want to continue. I want to keep doing this. But it's just like the time right now. And like I said, it could be 6 months. It could be, I don't know. I really don't. It could be forever. But I know that God would be pleased with, you know, wherever he takes me, wherever he leads me. I know that is coming, and however long that takes to even know, I'm okay with that as well. So what else y'all got?
Bro, you sitting here talking, I was thinking about 1 Kings 17, Elijah's getting fed by ravens, right? And then the Bible says, and it happened after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. And I'm thinking about you, I'm like, yo, the brook hadn't dried up, right? So talk about, because, you know, I see you guys as examples. Like every time we talk, I'm always thinking about the person watching and how they truly desire to be used by God. And so talk about, and I think you touched on it, but just to lean a little bit more to like, yo, it's one thing to leave when there is nothing else happening here, right? And like I think Kevin said, it was like, yo, it's a bad season. Let's go, Lord, you know?
Yeah.
To even have to stay in that, right? Who was it, Sarah's servant? And God was like, go back to her. Yo, she just mistreated and disrespected me. Yeah, go back to her, right? But for you, it's like, yo, the brook hadn't dried up. People sending stuff. Hey, yo, this is blessing me. And for you to still leave, just lean into that a little bit more, because I believe that somebody needs to hear that, because we know that just because you're in position, Saul, don't mean that you're still anointed for that seat.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't know, I feel like some people that are in seats that God took his anointing away, because it's like, yo, no, I moved from there.
Yeah.
But they think because they're still in position that it's still, oh, well, no, because God still, so yeah.
No, I think about, there's times where Jesus was preaching in different cities.
Yeah.
And it would be like they wanted him to stay, but he left. He left the city. He left because there's other places to go. There's other people that need to hear the God, that need healing, that need all of these different things.
Yeah.
And for him, it like he could have been like, oh, they love me here, like it's popping. The gospel is spreading. Everything good. You know what I'm saying? That boy turned water into wine. Like, oh, that boy throwing parties every week. You know? Like,
he got the David remix.
like it could easily turn into that.
That's fire.
I never want to be like, I think Kev touched on a little bit with Fire Night, like subject to the people. But more so, my devotion is not to the people per se, but to God. And one thing I've been wrestling with, take this soberly because I'm still working this out, is a lot of times when I read the Bible, I see it talks about, I'm getting into a kind of a preaching type when it comes to ministering and stuff like that. But it says they ministered unto the Lord. They ministered unto the Lord, right? So they're not ministering to the people. They're not ministering to the crowd. They're ministering unto the Lord. So what does that look like, right? What is that? And I'm asking God, like, what does that look like to minister unto you?
Yeah.
Right? Not get into a pulpit or a platform, a podcast or whatever, and minister to the people watching, but to minister unto you so that you're glorified. Right. I think there's it's subtle, but I think there's a difference that we really have to tap into as creatives, as ministers of the gospel, of just with anything. It's like ministering unto not ministering to the followers, not ministering to the statistics, not ministering to the platform, the conversation we just had, right? Not ministering to social media because I see this, right? But ministering unto the Lord, my devotion is unto you. So how do we do that? What does that look like today?
That looks like leaving a podcast that's still fruitful. That's crazy, bro.
The framework wise, I think First Samuel, it says that Samuel ministered before the Lord, and then later it goes like he didn't even know the Lord's voice. So I'm like, how was he ministering before somebody he didn't even know? And then it says he was really ministering to Eli. Like his ministering was him serving Eli. So him ministering unto the Lord was serving Eli, the priest. And so I'm like, so even in this context, like ministering to the Lord can be stopping a podcast if that's what God is calling you.
Come on, bro.
So there's so much more depth into that, but I mean, I think you really there where the heart is. What is ministering to the Lord? I think that is doing what He told you to do.
Yeah, I thought about Abraham.
Bro, go ahead, bro.
Bro, my man cut a covenant with Abraham, and a covenant back in the day, I mean, it's still the same thing. You hit it off with an episode with the exchange. Yo, don't be coming here just to get something. Come here to minister to the Lord, right? And so back in there, the covenant was, yo, everything that's yours is mine. Everything that's mine is yours. And they would do something, a whole situation. So when God asked Abraham for Isaac, he wasn't trying to be petty. He was like, I want to make sure we really in covenant, right? So if that's really mine, let me get it off of you. And then that's where he was like, yo, I see that you will withhold nothing from me. And so I forgot where I was going. Oh, in terms of, yo, what if this is a moment where God is like, I just want to see where your heart is.
Yeah.
Because you said, maybe not now, forever, a year or so like that. But I don't know, bro. And I'm also thinking in combination with that is that greater works. It's almost like, yo, what if God is looking to not only plant a ram in the thicket, but even something more?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, again, I'm in my, call me a prophet, I'm an encourager. I'm just in my encourager bag right now.
Definition of prophecy.
To edify, to encourage, and to comfort.
This guy. I'm in my encouraging bag right now, and it's like, yo, like, let this be an example to whatever you feel God is calling you to release, even if it doesn't make sense, right? Because as you guys know, you get that peace that surpasses all understanding. And so, bro. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for what will come out of this because He's faithful. But sometimes when He's faithful, it's not always clear in following Him, but we need to have faith. Like, it's like what the Bible says, it's impossible to please God without faith. Yeah. So you may be praying for God, show me a sign. He like, take a step, And so,
That's real, bro. So I think it's important that as I've modeled consistency for many people, it's also modeling that, like, I'm gonna still support ACP. Like, that's not going anywhere. Like I said, I'm gonna still do Bible plans. I got some music that's probably about to drop soon. Bro. So it's not, that, again, I ain't falling to sin and this kind of stuff. It's not that. It's just, giving this platform, letting Cold Therapy be the Isaac.
Yeah.
And
that's good, bro.
We'll see what happens from there. So we're gonna still do this part of cold therapy custom when they're the guests on the show. So I'm gonna have Javis go first and just give a word of encouragement to the people, man.
Ah, man. I think just to wrap up what we've been talking about, it's if we just had to make a summary sandwich. I don't know where that came from, bro. Make a summary. I think I'm hungry. Now make a summary sandwich based on your wiring, right? We broke it down. I'll give you one more analogy, right? You got the pilot, flight attendant, air traffic controller, and the grounds crew. What's the pilot? Results oriented, right? What's the air traffic controller, right? You're detail oriented, right? What's the grounds crew? You're support oriented. You love helping people, right? And then what's the flight attendant? You love people. You love being around people. In terms of you hearing God by your spirit, because it's got to come through your mind, because you got to make a decision to obey, right? The Bible says that we confess with our mouth and believe in our heart. Yo, that's our psyche, right? In terms of what you're feeling in this season, let this be a prophetic episode for your transition, right? You have to consult with not let it be over what God is saying, but you have to be objective about, okay, what is my wiring? How is that playing out in my obedience? Because it may be causing you to miss God. Again, my heart is that we don't take this and go, oh, this is my wiring, so I'm just going, no. I want you to be aware so it can be submitted, right? And so just think about, okay, like based on the examples I gave, what is my primary one? And how is that playing in my life in terms of what I need to do, the next steps I need to take? And so I pray this blesses you. And yo, stay in touch, right? In terms of prophetic leadership, right? Whenever a leader goes to a different place, so does the people that are supporting, right? Jesus went to the mountain of transfiguration and Peter was there, right? So proximity, even though it's virtual, you're still here. You're still getting good food. So tap in. We don't know. Bible, YouVersion they may be working on a product where it's like a podcast thing, and then they may call Chae and be like, hey, can you produce podcasts? I don't know. I think I might be encouraging somebody. But yeah, they might, but we don't know because he's willing to give up his Isaac. So you may have an Ishmael that you messed up the first time, and then you got dealt with it. And now it's your Isaac, and you may be going, well, God, I thought but we got to check Isaac first because it's about your posture. So yeah.
That boy prophesied. Going crazy. Go ahead, Bishop. We got Bishop now. And it's Fire Week too.
Wait, Fire Week start? Hold on, wait. What? I thought it started on Sunday. It starts.
It's Friday.
No.
Friday to Friday. Look,
it
was 7 days.
You think it's a little hot?
Hey man. Yeah, he should have made this man after me, bro. Nah, I think.
If he say that, then he go crazy.
Nah,
he about to go crazy.
Come on, bro.
If you open the Bible, bro,
it's over.
Keep your eyes on Jesus. And I know that seems like, okay, we always talk about keep your eyes on Jesus, but throughout the Bible, when people stumble, when people fall, is usually not a product of inability. Most times a lot of times it's not even bad intentions, but it's just eyes somewhere else, eyes on this, eyes on social media, eyes on what they doing, eyes on bank account, and it's like, if you can keep your eyes focused on Jesus, I promise you everything else will come to alignment. But it really is those, it becomes those things, those distractions we talked about earlier, like just unplugging on social media. That's something I feel called to do right now. And, it has its pros and cons with as far as interaction, building, Chae's in a similar thing where everything's going well, it's growing, but I've been called to withdraw. And so understand what God is calling you to increase in and what God is calling you to decrease in. Those are going to be very pivotal because it's different for everybody in every season. So what worked last time might not work. We talk about all the time, Moses, speak to the rock. Mm-hmm. He does what he did last time. Mm-hmm. He strikes it and literally forfeits the promised land for himself. And so don't go off of muscle memory, if you will. Sometimes we can get stagnant. Okay, I'm going to go off of the revelation, the encounter I had last year, last week, last month. And it's like, yo, give us this day our daily bread. And so, that requires you to come to him, right? He's not gonna force the daily bread on you. He's gonna say, as long as you come to me, you got it. But he's not gonna be like, he's not just gonna throw it. He's not gonna throw it down, right? He's not gonna make it rain like the manna.
Yeah.
But so make sure that you go to him and say, all right, Lord, what is my portion today? Don't give me too much. Don't give me too little, as it says in Proverbs. But give me the portion, the bread, the amount that is already pre-portioned out for me. And then rest. That's the other thing. Like, I hope, for Chae that he takes this opportunity to get more rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible talks about like the Israelites, he gave them food for 6 days. On the 6th day, he gave them enough for 2 days. He said, don't be trying to get no food on the 7th day. Because it was spoiled. And so sometimes we think if we just work 7 days a week, I'm gonna grind. That's not for Christians. That's for the world, right? You grind, we work hard, but we also take rest. And not getting the proper rest is actually defiant, and it is disobedient, and it is a display of your lack of trust in God. So stay eyes focused on Jesus. Get your rest and just understand what he's doing for you and through you in this season.
And we're standing all over the room.
You're wild.
Yeah.
Hey man, so before we end the episode, I do want to shout out everyone that has supported and watched in any way, shape, or form. Also, shout out to all the guests. I was gonna name drop everybody that's been on. I probably can't do it. I had my cousin Kalia Sparrow, Brandon Sparrow, Jason Sparrow, Josh Brown. Shout out to James Clyde. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Lex. Shout out to Ebony. Who else am I missing? Alon Ray, shout out to you. Of course, Kevin, Javis. Man, shout out to everyone. If I miss somebody, forgive me. I'm calling off the top of my head. But thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for even hopping on the podcast with me and supporting in that way. Thank you to everyone again that's watched, supported in any way. One thing I do want to leave all the guests with, as this is the last time, Jesus in John 17, he prays for his disciples. He prays for himself. But at the end, he says, and I have declared to them your name and will declare it, that the love with which you love me may be in them and I in them. So as this is the last episode, I pray that you understand that I have declared his name on the Cold Therapy Podcast, Christians Overcoming Life Every Day. And we can only do that based on John 16, verse 33. In this world, you will have trials, but take heart, I have overcome them all. So knowing that this platform has been built upon the rock that is Jesus Christ. And as we sign off for the last time, that I've declared his name, that, maybe a piece of me, maybe I've imparted something into you, integrity, consistency, diligence, may that continue to be in you. But also, most importantly, that the love of Jesus Christ be in you. Stay diligent, stay grounded in the word. There are many other platforms. Like, if anything, get into the word for yourself so that there's revelation in you. That the world needs, that people need, that your peers need, your friends, your family, the people around you need. So take that and run with it, man. But for the final time, at least for now.
Dang, bro. I feel like the episode of Fresh Prince at the end when Will was standing in the middle of the living room. That's how it feels.
Yo.
For the final time, man. I appreciate y'all for
No problem. Appreciate having
being
me.
on for the last time. So until we meet again on whatever method it is, whether it's on ACP, whether it's through a Bible plan, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, wherever. As always, I am your host, Chae Cole. Peace.